Hello, JCC families. So we are going to be baking Lembas bread. So for anyone who's read or watched the Lord of the Ring movies, you'll know what that is. It's supposed to keep you hungry and fed, or not hungry. It's supposed to keep you fed. And I think now is as perfect time as any to go ahead and make that. And thankfully, with all the different groceries I've kind of hodgepodged, I definitely have everything I need to make this. So bear with me as I make this in my kitchen and do a little cooking video for the first time. But first off, we're going to need 2.5 cups of flour. I actually don't have regular flour and could not find regular flour, so I'm just using some leftover gluten-free flour mix that I had. So let's go ahead and measure that out. 2.5 cups. Let me start with the half cup right now. So that's 1/2. 2 halves makes 1 cup. 1.5. Time to open up that next package. I've never actually made this with substitution flour, so here's to hoping it, like I imagine it'll have the same consistency because I am using the 1-to-1 gluten-free flour, which any other time I've used it has pretty much had the same consistency results as regular flour, but we'll see. We're improvising because that's what we do. So this was 1.5. Wait, was it 1.5 or was it 2? 1.5. This is now the half that makes it 2. And then our final half cup of flour. There we go. Oop. And I'll leave this open because I'm going to need to use this to dust my cutting board when I roll it out with my fancy little rolling pin that I really don't ever use. Okay, so we have flour, baking powder, 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Silly me, I did not take out that tablespoon. I will be right back. I am just roaming around my kitchen. 1.5 tablespoon, so we'll use that 2 times. One half. 2 halves gives us the 1. Let's put that there with the clear dirty cup. And then salt, it says 1/4 teaspoon of salt, but honestly with measurements that small, I just kind of shake it in. I will be putting this recipe on the recipe list that I put in the newsletter I sent last week. I will be sending out that with some more coloring sheets on Friday, so expect that soon. Gotta grind that in there. Well, I've made this 2 times before. I've altered the recipes a little bit each time just based on like whatever I had access to, and every time it did not disappoint. So we have the salt, the baking powder, the flour. I'm gonna gently whisk this to mix it up a little bit. Then I'm gonna go ahead and add that butter and then mix it up. Let me go ahead and plug in my electric mixer. This is definitely something you mix by hand, but I think it's just a lot easier to use a mixer. Just because you don't have to worry about clumps. So, butter. I melted it a little bit. Honestly, if it's just soft, it's fine. Now you're not going to be able to hear me, so I'm going to stop talking. I'm actually going to go ahead and get my spatula to scrape it, because this will be a little bit easier that way. It is also now time to add the brown sugar. I broke the bag, hence why the bag is in another bag. So we have a 1/3 cup of brown sugar. We'll have to make sure it's packed in nice and tight. That. And drop it in. And what was the other thing? Ah, cinnamon. So I'm actually going to add in a little bit of cardamom too, because I like cinnamon and cardamom. Again, there's a measurement for this. I'm just throwing it in there by eye. A little bit of pinch of cardamom. Actually, 2 pinches. This is good enough. Then I'm going to give this a good scrape, and then I'll go ahead and keep mixing. Just to make sure everything gets incorporated. That's my oven, it's preheated. So it is supposed to be mixed all together so that fine granules form. I'm gonna keep mixing it a little bit more to get rid of some of those larger chunks, because then we're gonna work on the wet ingredients. Okay, sounds good. Let's go ahead and switch this over now. So now we are doing whipped cream, 2/3 cup of whipped cream. Okie dokie. You know, this says it's supposed to be refrigerated 6 hours prior to whipping. Forgot about that. This doesn't necessarily say that it has to be whipped. It just says mix with cream, honey, and vanilla until a nice thick dough forms. So we're gonna see how this goes, because I did not prepare myself properly for this recipe. So I'm just leaving to get some scissors. But yeah, important part of impromptu baking is be as prepared as you possibly can by reading all the ingredients and the special instructions these ingredients might have. So 2/3 of heavy whipping cream. Here's a 1/3 of a cup. Boop. And then that second 1/3 of a cup. Ooh, there's about a 1/3 left in there. And then what are we adding in? Honey. So the honey is going to be 1/2 teaspoon. Oh, I actually just got this at CVS today when I had to make a pharmacy run. It was a very interesting adventure, to say the least. So, squirt this baby out. Oh, that's going to take a while to come out. So this is a 1/4 teaspoon, so I'm going to go ahead and do it one more time. Let's actually, do I have something else to scrape this out with? Let me scrape it out with this. There we go, get that last bit of honey in there. So we have that, and now we need vanilla. Honey is so sticky. Vanilla, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. Okay, I'll actually go ahead and just like properly measure this, just so that way I can get some of that excess honey out of there. Fill that one a little less since it's filled. There we go. I'm actually gonna go ahead and whisk this for a little bit. Then I'm gonna switch out the handles on there so that way I could whisk this and thicken it up a little bit with the air. So let's go ahead and stick these guys in here. I will say though, hopefully this works. If it doesn't, now we know. Read the directions on your whipping cream and make sure to refrigerate it beforehand. Okay, so it definitely thickened up a little bit, but I feel like this isn't as thick as it's supposed to be, but again, you live and you learn. And that's pretty much what this time is all about, it would seem like. So I'm gonna switch these bad boys out. So I'm gonna end up using the cake mixers once again. So I'm gonna set these aside here and I'm gonna do a little kitchen. Add these back. And also, I actually just realized I misread it. It's when you add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients that the nice thick dough should form, not implying that by whipping the wet ingredients, it should have thickened up. So again, reading skills, very important while we're out of school. So now we're gonna whip this up. Let me actually do some quick scooping real quick. There we go. Ooh, it's a little blobby. Let's go ahead and reincorporate that a little bit. I am starting to worry just a little bit about using that substitution flour because it's definitely mixed up. It's moistened up, but I feel like it's not attaching to itself very well. So I may add in a little bit more whipped cream and perhaps a little bit of cooking oil. So we will see how that goes. So I'm going to pour in just a smidge. Boop. Back in there. And let me actually go ahead and just maneuver that around this way. And the butter I just used some sticks of vegetable oil because that was the cheapest thing I could find. So, and I actually tend to bake with that a lot. Let me just go ahead and add in some just liquid vegetable oil to see if that helps bind this up. Just a smidge. I'll just go ahead and do a little caplet full. Put that there. And then we'll get to mixing again. I think now is a perfect time to just go ahead and, oops. There we go. Keep it mixed with the spatula to kind of go ahead and press things together. I do think that it's gonna need some more oil to bind it since we're using a different kind of flour. Because it's definitely, when you push it all together, you could see it sticking properly, but then when you move it around, it kind of crumbles up, and that's no good. We want to make sure this rolls out into a nice thick dough, because when we bake the lembas bread, it's kind of like in all honesty, it's kind of like a scone, so. And in all the baking adventures I've been doing this past week or so, I've only had access to substitution flour, so I've gotten used to just adding in different amounts of vegetable oil to kind of balance it out. But since I'm adding all that stuff in, I'm going to go ahead and give it a little bit more of the, I almost said seasonings, of the spices, the cardamom, the cinnamon, and while I'm at it, just a little bit more of vanilla. Chances are, for any of my JCC families out there trying this out for yourselves, you might have better luck than I do with ingredients. So I would say follow the instructions much closer, as opposed to my little improv Olympics, I guess. Okay, this is starting to look a little bit better. So I'm actually gonna start rolling this out, and since that's gonna take a while, I'm gonna pause this video and then I'll go ahead and cut to once it's all rolled out and cut into little pieces, when it's ready to go in the oven, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like at the end. Thanks for tuning in.